Welcome to this WKTV sports presentation. I am Mike Mall along with Doug Hansen and Gary Vandevelde, and we are coming to you from Wyoming Lee High School. We are here at the 14th annual Stubby Overmire Card and Collectors Show. It's an event Ty Amelander organizes each year as a fundraiser for his high school sports teams. Once again this year, just as he has been for the first 13, baseball's last 31-game winner, 1968 Cy Young winner, 69 Cy Young winner, and 1968 world champion Denny McLain is here with us. And he brought along with him one of the relief pitchers from 1968, Jon Warden. So we'll be talking with both of them during the course of the day, as well as some of the vendors and showing you some of the products that we've got going on. So we hope you enjoy the show. And speaking of one of the vendors, it's one that has also been here every year, I do believe. Maybe missed one?
It's the first one I wasn't here.
All right. Mr. Tom Brooks. Tom, it's always good to see you, my friend.
Always good to see you guys. How you doing?
I am doing well, thank you. How's business been?
Business has been brisk. It's a good day.
Good.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing.
It always is a good thing.
You got Denny McLain and Jon Warden sitting right in front of you. Somebody new, a good time to be had by all.
You know it. Always. Always good time, especially with Denny.
Yes. Well, you've got quite the collection here again. You've got end-to-end tables. You've got cards. You've got balls. You've got pictures. You've got a little bit of everything.
Got a little bit of everything. It's all vintage baseball, more or less.
There you go. But every year there is one special thing. What is it this year, Tom?
This year I have down here, we have the 500 home run bat. And on the bat we have 9 Hall of Famers. Got Harlem Killebrew, Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson, Willie Mays, Eddie Matthews, Let's Play 2, Ernie Banks, Reggie Jackson, Willie McCovey, and Mike Smith. That's quite a nice bat there.
That is an amazing bat. If I can ask, where did you come up with it?
I went and emptied the piggy bank out. I bought someone's collection, and that was part of the collection. And part of my draw for getting it is that bat.
There you go.
So
that is amazing. We quite often go home with things from you, but I don't think that one's going to make the road trip to Caledonia.
yeah, you know, there's a pretty penny for that one, so maybe we better stick with our Tigers.
Well, I know you're still looking probably for that mantle card.
Looking for that 52 mantle. I thought I had one at the National, and the guy said he wanted like $20,000, and I said, no, I can buy a house with that. So, yeah, a little crazy. Wow. So, yeah, I'm still looking. I got one, but Mick ain't what he used to be.
Well, good deal. Well, Tom, it's always a pleasure. It's always fun to see what you come down with, and it's always good stuff.
Yeah, it's always good seeing you guys. It's always nice to deal with the school, commit to it, make sure the kids got some equipment to play with and somewhere to go to play. So it's good times.
That's always the best thing about this one with Ty. It's for the kids. It goes right straight directly to the programs.
That is outstanding that that's happening. So I really enjoy helping Ty promote this and seeing all you guys. You know, that's what makes it fun.
All right. Well, thanks, Tom. As always, it's a pleasure.
Michael, pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Gary.
Sundays here.
Joining us is the person that spearheads this event for the 14th year, Ty Amelander. Ty?
Hi, Mike. Nice to see you again.
You too, sir.
Always
Thanks
fun.
for the invite. Number 14, would you ever have guessed?
No, not really. I didn't know if they'd let me coach here that long, especially when I first come in the doors. We did things a little untraditional and kind of like a bull in a china shop when I first started. What they put up with me, and I've enjoyed it, and I still like getting up every day and being a baseball coach. So
There you go.
It's fun.
What else are you doing besides baseball, Coach? I know there's a lot of other activities too.
Well, I work for the school full time now, and I working basically grounds, take care of a lot of outdoors, the facilities and stuff, and do a lot of wear a lot of different hats here right now. And I drive a special education bus, which I actually probably enjoy as much as coaching right now. It's just a great time. I have kids grades kindergarten down to preschool, and I work with some really great teachers and people that are really teamwork. Jill Chivas and Stephanie Lopez and Holly Johnson. They're just so fun to work with. I just love it. It's fun. And plus those kids laugh at my jokes.
Well, it has been a transition year kind of here at Wyoming Lee, if you will, between the building problem and your mascot going into the change. And I know you're from the old Rebel side of things, but how has that affected anything?
You know, the old Rebel side of me says I wish we'd have kept the name. I feel the community was kind of strong in voicing that, but I'm not going to get too caught up into that.
Sure.
Letting it affect me too much, because when it boils down to it, I come here not for me, it's to try to help coach kids and have some fun playing baseball, and hopefully they learn some life lessons.
Yep.
The building falling, that was just I get that question asked so often by so many, and they say, well, don't you work there? And they expect me to know the answers. I don't know really what we're doing when we go forward. I tell people that we're going to put in an aquatic center and a hockey arena just to mess with them now. But I don't know what's going on there. I'm just thankful because I seen it the morning after it happened. Thank God nobody was in the school.
Oh, no kidding.
Thank God.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you read some people saying, well, it's just time to build new. Yeah, sure. Who's got that amount of money just laying around that we could even look at that?
If the Van Andels are looking in.
Really?
Yeah, if
that's
they're
great.
Looking in, we send this to the Van Andels. They're welcome to send some money over here, because we'd like to build a new gym and a few other things.
There you go, absolutely so. Well, you got Denny McLain back for number 14. And you got Jon Warden this year. That was an eventful night last night, to say the least.
Yeah, I had to cut out a little early to set this up. I wish I could have seen the whole thing, but I'm sure eventually when this gets out on YouTube, like Gary does such a great job, I'll get to see the whole thing. But yeah, it's super cool. Jon coming to help out this year, and Denny, unbelievable, 14 times now he's been here to Lee High School, and he's become like family to us.
Oh, sure.
I spend a lot of time with him in the summer at Cooperstown, and it's just so funny, some of the things I've done with Denny, and just I was joking with him the other day. I think the most amazing thing isn't that he won 30. Everybody says 31 games, but he won 32 in '68 because we needed that 32nd win. But I think the most amazing thing about Denny is he's alive and kicking with what he eats. he can live on chocolate bars and Propel and a Red Bull and donuts. I told him, don't change a thing, Denny, because I don't think your system will go into shock. But he's been so super to us. And last night I mentioned his wife Sharon, who hasn't been able to come for a few years. She was really a driving force behind this. And we just we pray for her continuously, and we go visit when we can once in a while. It gets hard as busy as we get, and putting family things together, but we are going to go down and visit sometime here during the holidays.
Good. I'll pass on our best to her if you remember, if you would, please.
I sure will.
Because she definitely, I know that the first few that we did here, she was always right by his side at the table out there, and as you commented last night, she was huge in starting it up after the first year with him and everything. So.
Yep, one of my favorite pictures is Denny with Sharon. I think it's on her Facebook page still, maybe the cover photo of her in a Lee Rebel jacket.
Good deal. Well, I know you're busy, so we won't keep you too long here, but as always, Ty, we thank you for the opportunity to come in. You do a great job with this thing, and I know the kids, it's always fun to talk to your players, and even ones that are not necessarily your players, to hear the reactions and how much they appreciate this as a fundraiser and what they are able to benefit out of it. So.
Well, they'll say good things now, but catch them after a rough practice. They might not say so many nice things, but we have good kids here. Sometimes I wish they were, it might sound cruel, but a little bit meaner.
Yep.
Because sometimes they're such nice kids. They kind of go with the flow sometimes, and during a game sometimes you don't want to go with the flow when things ain't going good. But they're great kids, and hopefully you guys can interview
Yep, absolutely.
One or
Now,
two
I know
of
the
them
football
today.
team went independent this year.
Yes.
Are any of the other sports doing that, or are they still part of the silver?
There's been talk about that. I hope not. I like the challenge. I mean, we've been down the last couple of years in baseball, but 2 years ago we were in it till the end of the year, and the 2 years before that we were in the conference hunt till the last game of the season.
Yep, up at North Point Christian.
And
I
our
remember
soccer
covering it.
team just dominated or didn't dominate, but they co-champed with Calvin, but were very dominant this year.
Okay.
And it proves we can do it. It's just we're doing some things at the youth level that we're going to change. I'm on the board at Pinery Park Little League, and we're making some moves there at Pinery to try to bring more league kids in. The cost of travel ball is hurting the inner city kid. Baseball's become a rich kid's sport.
Yep.
And we're hoping to reach out to get more financial help. Besides this, we're hoping to get more donations, maybe more time, or even if we have to hire in some tutors, people to help the kid in the classroom even.
Sure.
Because the inner city kid is getting lost in baseball, and I think it's sad because I think of all the kids that didn't go on to play much high school or didn't go on to college that could have, that I've coached over the years.
Yep.
There's some great athletes out there that just never quite got there.
Yep.
I would love to be part of helping them get to that level.
Sure. And that's what it's all about, starting them off, like you say, in the smaller divisions, the younger kids, get that interest in, because you just, it used to be if any time you would drive by a baseball field, you had somebody out there playing it. Now you drive by a baseball field and it's like it's a ghost town instead.
When I was a kid, we had like a team bag with catcher's gear in it and maybe one or two bats. The whole team used those one or two bats. Now, kids every year they're buying $400 bats and a baseball glove. A good one's cost you upmost of $100 to $250. If you want a decent set of cleats, you're talking another $100. Like I said, it's some of our kids actually. I mean, I have kids that play outfield in soccer shoes. I mean, that's just what they can afford.
Sure.
Or they're scrambling to be able to buy some things to play baseball.
Yep.
We've done a ton of outreach as far as giving out gloves and whatnot, but it's kind of priced out the inner city kid, and it's kind of sad.
Yep.
I hope we can make some strides. I really wish MLB would reach out more. I mean, it's obvious they got enough money.
Sure.
Max Scherzer made $42 million this year. And real quick, I did the math on that. And he made about $3.8 million per win this year.
Oh my
Now
goodness.
think about if Denny McLain would have got $3.8 million per win in 1968. He'd have made about $120 million in 1 year. And what's amazing is Denny got about $1,000 a win from the Tigers in 1968. That's how much the game's changed.
Unreal.
And how much extra money. Heck, Warden would have been pretty well off with 4 wins at $3.8 million a year. You might want to mention that to him. That he's worth about $16 million now.
I can only guess what his response is going to be.
Oh yeah. I'm sure he didn't get close to that.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw, doing some looking into it, Jon Warden and stuff. The World Series share in '68, I think, if I'm remembering right, was just over $10,000 per player. And I don't know what it was for the Nationals for having it wrapped up this year, but I can only imagine.
No, for $10,000, they won't even get out of bed nowadays. It's amazing the money. Like I said, there's money there. I wish they would reach into. I think they have some outreaches, but there's a lot of hoops to jump through and stuff to get that. And I wish they would really sincerely reach out to the inner city, because I think there's some few areas where it's becoming successful, but there's a lot of inner city kids that are just not playing baseball, or they're scared off because of the price.
Sure.
And the things that Pinery Park, we lowered the prices so low now kids can basically play free at the lowest levels.
Yep.
So.
And that was part of the conversation last night too. One of the questions that was asked Jon and Denny, and Jon brought up exactly that, was you don't see these major leaguers and even the minor leaguers, and now, as he said last night, MLB is talking about rearranging the minor leagues and how they're doing things, and so it makes you wonder what the process is going to be coming up for baseball.
Well, it's a great sport, and if they want to keep that sport going, they got to get it down into the youth. You got to get kids falling in love with baseball, and I think it's becoming a little less and less, and I hope that changes, because that's their future is the kids.
Absolutely. Well, just to throw out a quick promo, every year you do this show when?
First week of November.
Okay.
We used to do it in February, which I sometimes wish we would have kept at the end of February. It seems like it was a little better time for everyone. You know, you didn't have hunters, and like the Grundykes are hunting today, and I don't blame them. I mean, they got to live a life. They've been awesome to the show.
Sure.
I thank them for everything they've ever done. But there's people that are hunters, but the upside is we never get snowed out. I mean, we've never been snowed out in February, but we were pretty close to where about 10 people showed up the whole day because it was so bad. And so that's the upside. So it's always the first Saturday in November.
All right.
We're set kind of with the other dealers and people around here to stay out of their way, and we don't butt heads. So.
And the Friday night before, you always have a dinner at Brand's.
We always hope to. That Brand's dinner is always a great time. I think more people should take advantage of it. We'd like to even go bigger and have a bigger facility because I think it's that fun for people to be at. Absolutely.
All right, sir. Well, Ty, as always, we appreciate it. Job well done, and we look forward to the ones coming up.
Well, I want to thank you, Gary, Doug. WKTV has been so loyal to this, and I want to make sure I thank all the volunteers that are here helping today, my players. I had donors last night. Some of the dinner spots were bought for my players, and my barber, Rochelle, she did it. Mike Chase, who went here way back, he donated some money. He's hunting. He wanted to come, but he said, "Hey, I'll buy some slots." So a lot of people ate on him last night, and there's a lot of people out there that have helped out and helped us make money here. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. I know Parkwood Pharmacy's been super to us, Mike Rose over there. Okay. So it's I always forget somebody. I always feel bad, so I'm sorry if I forget somebody.
Well, there's an awful lot of people that are involved, so it's easy to miss one or two of them.
Well, I hope Hanson, with all his money, he buys that nice, beautiful chair over there tonight.
All right, Ty. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Joined by another one of the longtime vendors here, Vern Grundyke. Vern, how you doing today, sir?
Great, and you guys are doing your job, I see, going around and helping the cause.
We're doing our best. You know, we're using in my case, my God gift of gab is what it is.
Really, yeah, why not? What better thing to gab about, right?
Oh, no kidding. Something like this? Absolutely so. How's business been at the table so far?
Good. Sold some baseballs today, sold some bobbleheads, some pictures, some cards, odds and ends. I always do. I always have bobbleheads. They do well for me, yep.
Is that an old Rampage bobblehead there?
An old Rampage mascot Rob bobblehead, yeah, it is. Looks like the kind of person you'd buy, right?
Yeah. Back to the old arena football days.
The old arena football. I had a helmet signed by Clint Dozell.
Okay.
And let's see, what else did I have by Dozell? I had a couple things that I sold them. You have to find a Rampage person to buy that stuff, of course. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So I've had a good day. I have a good day anyway. Talk and.
There you go.
I like to talk like you do.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. And you've got your show coming up again. I know we did last year, but give us a little bit of information on that.
Well, March 7, that's in 2020, first Saturday of March, and we'll probably sell 55, 60 tables. And we are still working on a signer to come. The coach is here. He'll be there. We're glad he's above ground, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah, they'll be at Westside.
Yep.
Westside Christian, and I believe this is our 29th year. Wow. We're second to Tom.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be fun.
Absolutely.
We're getting ready for that. Yep.
Good deal. But you don't know as of yet who is going to make the appearance.
Not yet. We were trying to get Monroe, but I hear he's down in Florida quite a bit now with his involvement with the Tigers. So I'm not sure we'll get him.
Okay.
So we're looking at somebody that's user friendly and that we think will draw some people.
Yep.
We probably will not have a Jack Morris type person fall in their laps again.
That was who you had last year there.
So the one thing about finding somebody like that, though, you might have a little more of a reasonable chance to sell some autographs because they won't be as expensive.
Sure.
You know, Morris got it what he's supposed to get, but it's expensive when you spend $69, $70 for an autograph. So, yeah.
Good deal. Well, it's always a pleasure talking to you, Vern. It's always fun to see what you've got.
Have you come and find me? I never did like to be on the screen, but hey, you guys do all right with that. So,
Well,
got expert interviewers and expert TV people. What can you do? You know, they make you look good, right?
well, he makes you look good. I don't know about me, but as always, though, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
nice
you.
to see you guys.
You too.
Thanks for your work.
We're joined by the next generation of the Emma Lander family, Ty's daughter, Amanda. Amanda, nice to see you as always.
As well as you guys.
And who do we have here?
This is Bella.
Good
My
morning.
daughter.
Nice to see you again this morning. Did you get some sleep last night after that show? Good.
Yep. You're here bright and early.
There you go.
She didn't like that.
Well, you are the softball coach here at Wyoming Lee now. Last year was the first year. How'd it go?
It was a learning experience.
For you and the players?
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of rebuilding that we have to do and continue to do. We got a
Yep.
long road ahead. but
Okay.
we're
Young
excited.
team or?
Mostly, well, we had one senior last year,
Okay.
and now I think we have maybe 6 or 7.
Okay.
And they're all starters too.
Oh, wow.
So next year is going to be a
Yep.
little
There you go.
more difficult, but you know, I'm excited to see what we have coming up from 8th grade.
Sure.
So
And you played here, obviously. You graduated when again?
2014.
Okay. So not that long ago.
No.
So the game really hasn't changed much in that time frame then?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
All right. So the support you get from this event is huge to you, just as your dad's baseball team is, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. He every year, even when I wasn't the coach here, I know whenever some of the alumni girls would come help out, he would give some money to the softball program.
Sure.
And even when I was in high school, he'd give some money from this event to the softball program. So it's always been
Yep.
for both softball and baseball in a way. So it's
Okay.
pretty cool.
Yep, absolutely. Now, I know you were a pitcher when you played, and then when I talked to you last year at this, you said that was going to be the challenge, is trying to work with your pitchers, because, I mean, obviously to be a softball pitcher especially, you have to have that certain mentality. How did that go, working with pitchers?
It went pretty well. I mean, we have a girl, Amber. She was a freshman last year, and she did very well.
Good.
I kind of, because I think personally, the best way that I learned is kind of take the car
Yep.
and drive it, you
There
know.
you go.
And so she was used to somebody always calling her pitches and stuff. And if we were behind in a game, why not?
Yep.
You know, like if we're getting mercy, let her learn how to pitch to batters. She can see things better than I can.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I can only see so much from the dugout. Whereas when I was in the circle, I could see how far she was off the plate, how close, if she was crowding the plate, you know? And I'd remember, oh, this girl last time she hit a rocket, let me throw her outside now or something,
Yep.
you know? And it's just, you gotta learn how to pitch. And so that went well. I mean, we still have a lot to work on.
Sure.
But she did really good. She handled it very well.
Must have as a freshman from that point of view,
Yeah.
so that bodes well for her future then.
Yeah, right. And
Good.
It's better to learn earlier than later.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely so. So yourself and how many other coaches do you have with you? Anybody?
I had helping with varsity. Well, we have a JV coach. Her name's Sam, and we unfortunately didn't have enough girls to field a JV team.
Oh, okay.
So I had Denny Grundyke helping me,
Oh, yeah.
and then our JV coach Sam was also
Okay. Good deal.
part of the varsity program.
And all of them will be back, or are you going to have a JV program this year, is it
We're
sounding
going to
like?
do everything we can to have a JV program. It's just numbers here is
Sure.
a huge thing, you
Sure.
know, and as of right now, everybody, I do believe, is coming back. Haven't heard anything other. so,
Good. That's always good.
Yeah.
Do you go watch Mom's games? How does she do? Does she do okay? Yeah? Good. Well, this event, as we said, I asked this so many times and everything else, you've seen it now on all aspects of it, not just being a daughter of Ty,
Yeah.
but an athlete coming up through Wyoming Lee, and now on the coaching side of things. What does something like this mean to as a whole?
I think it, in all honesty, I think it means more to me now than it did when I was here.
Okay.
Because when I was here, I was like, man, I got my Saturday, and I always love coming because I could hang out with my friends and
Sure.
stuff, But now it's, I know, okay, when I was in high school, I was like, oh, $100, whatever, Now it's like, oh, $100, I could do a lot with $100, and it's just shows like that people are giving, and like even some of the vendors, like they just donate stuff that they could sell for a good amount of money, and they donate it to the auction and stuff,
Sure.
and it just shows how like there is still some goodness
Yep.
in people's hearts, and that they
Absolutely.
do want to give, and it's nice that they give to a school that doesn't have as much as others,
Right.
and it means a lot, and like I said, I realize it more now than I did when I was younger.
Yep, absolutely. So I know your dad was saying that the younger program in baseball, they're trying to get that working with Pinery Park. What are they doing from a softball side of things?
I believe that they're planning on trying to do the same thing with getting the all Lee kids on one team
Okay.
and all Wyoming kids and so forth, but I haven't been filled in completely on it.
Yep.
So he mentioned something to me a little bit, but I got to talk to him more about
And
it.
is that at Pinery as well that they play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I coached last year. I coached her t-ball, and we had a couple other girls.
Oh,
Erica,
okay.
her daughter played
Absolutely.
with us. So, and we had Tammy's girls, treasurer and attorney. They played with us also.
Yep.
So, and they are all league kids right now. So.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, we as always appreciate the time, and we thank you for coming up. You got anything to say before we go? Nothing?
No.
Did you dress up for Halloween? As what? A pirate? Oh, did you have fun? Good.
It was a little chilly.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Amanda. As
you,
always,
guys.
it's great to see you.
Me too.
Good to see you again. Have a great day.
I do remember that. I'm just about done now. Go Tigers.
Well, all the parties on the streets are talking. Storefront mannequins sleeping in lights. We used to smoke.
Once again this year, we're joined by the Coach D. Here.
Hey.
How are you, Tim?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good. How's it been today?
It's been good. I sold quite a bit, so yeah, I need to get this out of my basement. So
I'm hearing that from a lot of guys, that's what the wives are telling them. You got to move some of this
move
stuff.
that stuff. You got to move it, they say. So no, my wife's pretty cool about the whole thing.
There you go.
So
Good.
I got my little man room down there, but it's packed full. So
Well, we got to talk football. You just wrapped up independent season.
yeah.
All in all, it was a pretty good year, wasn't it?
Well, we finished 3-6. We probably should have won 2 more. We were in the game with Comstock and fumbled, and they took it in to get the win by 6. And then Kelvin Christian game, the game 1 was just a nightmare because we were ahead, and then the storm came, and our kids didn't come prepared the next day, and that falls on my shoulders for not preparing them.
Yeah.
So it was a big growing year. We played with a lot of freshmen and sophomore on the varsity. So those kids are going to be sophomores and juniors next year.
Sure.
So things are looking bright. We just need a few more bodies.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
But I know in talking to you in the past, there's so much more than the wins and losses. It's great to get the wins, but there's so much more than that.
Yeah, we've the last two seasons we've put three kids in playing college football.
Wonderful.
And it's not so much the fact they're still playing football, it's the fact that they're in college. If they didn't have this vessel to carry them, who knows what they'd be doing now. But they're having success at the collegiate level, not only in football but academically. And with Facebook, I can keep up on them and stuff really easily. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. You know, some kids that might not walk across the stage, they fall in love. Football becomes important with them, or basketball, or whatever, baseball. We can get them to walk across that stage. Without those things, they might not do that.
Yep.
So, we take a lot of pride in different things besides wins and losses here. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So, how long is the independence? If I remember right, it was set up for 2 years. Is that right, or am I wrong?
2 years, this year and next year, but I think I don't know. Our administration's looking at different options besides the OK.
Yep.
Outside of soccer, we're really not competitive in too many sports. And I've been preaching this since we first went out of the conference back in the 2000s. Why do we keep running our head into a wall? That's kind of silly. For what? Prestige or easy or scheduling things? I said, in education they preach what's best for kids. Well, what's best for our kids?
Right.
Here at Lee, and it's not playing Sparta in Comstock Park and Hopkins. They're all coming into our conference now. That's not why the Silver was designed originally. The Silver was designed for smaller schools to have non-league games.
Right.
So, it used to be 6 teams. Now they got 9 teams. Yeah. And Sparta's 8-1 this year. Are you kidding me? I don't want to play them. Unless I can suit up.
Well, absolutely. So you're doing well, though, health-wise?
Yeah, I'm still struggling on certain days. Sure. The mind hasn't completely healed. They said it would be a year to 2 years. We're coming up on a year now. Yep. The heart issue, they're still trying to figure out how that happened. So, it's like, doctor visit after doctor visit and therapy after therapy. And but I'm totally blessed. I believe that God brought me back, Christ brought me back to work with these kids. And maybe it's not going to be in the classroom anymore. I've got 30 years in, I could retire. Maybe it's just on the athletic field, but I'm still working with those kids. Yep. These kids this year, they carried me. There was days I was out of it. I couldn't talk. Sure. And these kids just, it was awesome. It was really a great year. Yep. That game 9, I started crying afterwards, and the kids just all came up and hugged me, and I was like, thanks, guys.
Yep. That's a testament to you as an individual.
Yeah.
And the lessons that you have taught them certainly was a payback, and I'm sure they will forever appreciate that as well.
My kids this year, and in the past too, here at Lee, it's just been a special bunch. Those kids that go out there and just give it their all and maybe not get the outcome that they want, but they keep fighting.
Yep.
And and when I went down last year, and they weren't sure I was going to make it, my kids rallied around me and came up to the hospital and stuff. That was cool. That's great. I don't remember it, but my wife told me.
Yep. And they will forever, though. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, I love them. I got guys coming back, from the 90s,
yep,
still coming back
to
see me. Yeah, and they got kids of their own now and stuff.
Exactly.
Where's he going to school?
Well, Tom, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you. It's good to see you, and I'm glad you're here with us.
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah, look, Joe. I got 168.
Lifelong friends here since the seventh grade.
Seventh grade.
We're going to say 77.
We're in the 8th grade now.
Maybe it's that fire.
Well, for the 3rd consecutive year, I believe.
Yep.
We are joined by a player off from Ty's team, and he is
Michael Beasley.
Nice to see you again, Mike. How's things going?
We're doing really well. It's been a tough few years. We're trying to rebuild the program, but we're getting there.
Good. What position are you playing now?
I'm pitching and catching and playing a little bit of second, not a whole lot.
Okay. What's the preference?
Catcher.
Really?
Yeah.
Coach Ty's got you brainwashed.
A little bit. He helped me out these past few years. I was kind of pushed towards the infield, and he kind of threw me into catcher and got the hang of it.
There you go. Good deal. So you are in what grade now?
I'll be a senior this year.
Coming into the senior. So you're going to be one of the leaders on the ball club.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a catcher.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking at that. How do you feel about all that?
It's a little bit of pressure, not a whole lot, since I have a lot of teammates that work with it, so
Yep.
they know what it's like. And since we have a really big senior class in the baseball team, I think that we'll have a much better time this year than we have before.
So a lot of seniors.
Yes, I think we have in our starting lineup 7 of our 9 are seniors.
Wow. I just talked to Amanda, and she was saying about the same thing for her softball program as well. So
That's crazy.
that's always encouraging from that point of view. But then you have to see who's going to do like what you did for the last couple of years. Who's going to step up and fill in those other roles?
Yeah, especially with like this past 2 years with Pete gone, and then last year we had one senior, Colton, who when he was gone, it was kind of like we still had our team together. So.
Yep. So spring trip this year is coming up to where?
We're going to Kentucky again. Same high school that we go to. So we're gonna work hard and keep training.
How much fun? I know it's more than fun, but how much fun is that trip?
It really all depends on the day. If it's raining, it gets really, really fun because we go inside and hit and get our practice in and still work hard. When we're outside, it's pretty cool too to see like how we're doing, and it gets pretty cool because we do games.
Yep.
So.
And at the end of the whole thing, you play how many games altogether if you get everything in?
We play about 12 games with our team only. We used to go versus an Indiana team on the way back, but these past few years haven't worked out because there's been storms and kind of delayed us for a while. So
Sure.
we're hoping we can go back to that.
Good deal. I know we've asked this in the past, but now as a senior, what does this event mean?
It means everything to us because we just know how much it helps the program and builds up with us.
Is it something you think that after you graduate, you may come back and still help out with?
Oh yeah, for sure. With how much Ty's done for me, I'm gonna come back and do a lot for him.
Okay. What are the plans after school?
I'm hoping to go to Muskegon Community College and wrestle.
Oh, and wrestle.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna try to play a little bit of baseball in between, hoping it'll work out, but I'm hoping I can get my degree in sports marketing.
Good for you. Do you wrestle here at Lee?
Yes, I'm one of our starting varsity guys.
Okay,
So.
you had a very successful year last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we went to regionals, and my team went, and then I went individually.
Wonderful. Good for you. What's the preferred sport?
Ooh, I think it'd be wrestling.
Okay.
I mean, I've played baseball my whole life. I got kind of bored of it, and
Yep.
then I came back and jumped right back into it. So it'd still be wrestling because how much work I've put in.
Sure.
And I've put a lot of effort into wrestling these past 3 years, so I think wrestling would be the one.
Okay, good for you. That's a sport you don't hear a lot of. I mean, it's, you know.
It's kind of smaller in this part because like Lowell and all them, they have like really good teams. We're kind of a team that's quiet and we keep our head low. And then just like last year, we came out of nowhere and won the district title for the first time.
So what are the expectations this year, do you think, then?
Since we're the returning district champs, we think we can come back and win it again.
Good deal. Well, I wish you the best in that, as well as in baseball coming up in the spring. And as always, we appreciate the time that you take to visit with us again, Mike. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Well, for the 14th year in a row, Mr. Denny McLain is back with us here at Wyoming Lee. Denny, always a pleasure.
Good to see you. Why do we shake hands?
Complete admiration of you.
We had dinner last night.
We did.
We shook hands last night.
We did. Complete admiration of you.
So we don't have to do it 2 days in a row, do
No?
we?
Okay, I'll remember that.
People may talk.
Well, I'm used to that, though.
I ain't going there. We'll both be in trouble.
Especially with my wife right there.
That's a good thing. We cleared that up right away. Did we? Okay.
Speaking of wives, we want to let the viewers know how's Miss Sharon doing.
Sharon is not doing well. She's doing as best as she can, mentally, emotionally, but it's you know, within a very short period of time, well, the Parkinson she's had about 8 years now, 8.5 years, but she had a heart attack, she had a stroke, she broke her hip for the second time, had the hip replaced again. She's had 2 new knees given to her, like buying everything off of Memory SS Kresge. I feel like we're at Kresge's every other month medically. And it's just been one disaster after another. She's just, I don't know. There is no, you know, and yet physically, I'm talking about heart-wise and things like that.
Sure.
She's pretty good.
Yep.
But all the parts just don't work.
Yep.
But she hangs in there. She's tougher than I am because I think I would have checked out a long time ago. I really do. Because, man, the suffering and the pain and all the people out there that go through the same thing with Parkinson's and what have you, I have so much sympathy for you and what you folks go through just to make things work every day is nothing short of miraculous.
Yep.
It's, and why all the billions of dollars we've spent on research, we don't find anything of dramatic curing, healing of some kind. It's, yeah, they got a little pill here. You take this 4 times a day, this 2 times a day, this 3 times a day. All I know, it costs thousands every month to go to this pharmacy to fill these pills all the time. But if that's what it takes, that's what you got to do.
Yep,
but she fights it every day. She's, but you know, this Parkinson's thing, it changes your whole attitude about life. If you have it, emotionally, you're on a roller coaster all the time.
Yep.
You're here, you know, it's a tough way to live every day, really tough.
And obviously, as the spouse, it's tough. It hurts from your point of view.
Oh boy.
You've been married how many years, did you say?
56.
Congratulations.
But there's a reason, because she knows so much I can't get rid of her to begin with. So how dare we even say or suggest anything like that?
So going around doing these type of things still? Programs?
Yeah, we
and shows?
do. This year we're going to back off a little bit, but we normally do 160 to 200 events a year.
Okay.
And this year we're probably going to only do about 140, which is a lot.
Yep.
But I'm getting a little bit older, and I enjoy them a lot. I really do enjoy them. But you know, this with so many other things going on, with her being sick all the time, it's really tough to go on the road. It's really, really tough because you spend half your day on the phone.
Yep.
And the caretaker finances that you have to have, it's a miracle. I mean, listen, I've never worked so much in my life as I'm working right now. I mean, I'm 75 and I go to work every day, no matter what it is. And but that's what it takes, because these pharmas have got us. The hospitals have got you worse. And I'm not criticizing them. Don't misunderstand me. We got to pay to play. But the bottom line is, you just can't. People can't imagine, especially if you're healthy, like we all were at one time.
Sure.
You know, it's hard to believe that you can spend that much money on pills. And but it is what it is, and you just keep going and going and going. But it's the money that it costs every month, and I'm not complaining. God forbid if I couldn't work. The greatest, you know what I think? I think God allowed me to win 30 ball games for one reason: to take care of Sharon for the rest of her life. Gave me an opportunity to make an income for the rest of my life. So I put the two together, because I can't rationalize it any other way.
Yep, absolutely. Well, one of the shows that you do, I know, and Ty comes out with you, is the Hall of Fame weekend.
Yeah.
That had to be quite the huge number of people this year with the
You're talking
Yankees.
Cooperstown.
Exactly.
Yeah. This year is going to be probably the biggest we've ever seen. We got Derek Jeter going in, and as well as a couple other guys. I don't know who the other guys are right offhand, but I believe we had, who'd we have 5-6 years ago? I don't even remember now. We've been there for like 17 years in a row.
Okay.
But whoever we had, they had like on the day that they inducted them, on the Sunday, they had like 80,000 people there.
Wow.
Oh, it was the people. In fact, they left the streets open all day Monday and part of Tuesday. That's how many people were still there. And it was bonkers, just plain bonkers. And this year, I think, if the weather stays good, they'll rival it with him there. I only hope that he understands the nature of why he's there. the folks who supported him all of his life and bought all of those seats and in the seats, he's going to see a lot of those people that weekend. And I only hope I'm sure he will. But he had great parents.
Yep.
He's never had an incident in his life that we know of.
Right.
And if he maintains that course, this could be the greatest induction in the history of Cooperstown.
Yep. My wife and I actually made a trip to New York this year and went into Cooperstown. Never had been before. Went to the Hall of Fame, and it's not a big town for anybody that has not been to Cooperstown. There's not much there to be able to handle that number of people.
No, and it's all baseball. It's for lack of a better definition, it's all baseball. Bat companies, ball companies, picture companies, you name it, they've got it there. And the people there are, to say the least, baseball fans, because the people who run the stores there are people who can just about answer any question you throw at them. I mean, that's their business, 100%. So it's tough to stump them.
Yep.
And we set up every year in the same place. There's a liquor store in Cooperstown, and a lot of people will not know what I'm talking about. But as you face the ballpark, to the west, there's a big old liquor store there, about the only one in Cooperstown. Mm-hmm. And we set up right in front of that liquor store for two reasons. Number one, we know 80% of the traffic that comes into Cooperstown has to go by this liquor store.
Sure.
And number two, about half of that traffic stops in the liquor store. So we get them one way or the other. It's a great location. We have such fun with the location, and we're in the wine business. I wish there was some way we could sell our wine when we were there.
Yeah. I know exactly the story you're talking about. We happened to frequent that place when we were there this year.
No kidding.
Yeah, my wife had to, not me, but she had to, so.
Such a liar, Eddie. It was you? Oh,
see, I'm not lying.
You married a lush? My Lord. We better cut this interview off. I can't be around a lush.
I am. Why can't you?
How long you been married?
33 years, just this last month.
You're just starting, pal. The next 20 are a bitch. Guarantee you that.
Well, the Tigers. The Tigers, the Detroit Tigers. What happened this year? Or what didn't happen?
Well, I think they're on this mission to clean up their payroll. Well, they would never admit it.
Right.
They would never admit it. I think they've tried to deceive us all year long. I mean, if you think that there was any kind of mechanism or relationship there that they could build around a nucleus of 2 or 3 guys like we did, 7, 8, 10 years ago,
sure.
That never happened.
Right.
There wasn't anybody of any significant value that you could even say, well, yeah, we're going to build ourselves around the third baseman or the shortstop or whomever. There wasn't anybody to build around.
No.
And the big guy, Cabrera, he's about done. He's been done here for a couple of years.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is, yes, he can still hit. He can still hit well. He can put the ball in play. But his biggest downfall, he just doesn't want to run anymore.
Yeah.
The guy is, I don't get it. He doesn't hustle, and he gets away with it. We need a manager who's going to sit him down and fine him and make him believe that he's not the owner of the ball club and he's not the leader of the ball club. I think it's reprehensible the way he's acted the last 2 years, not running out first base. And everybody knows it, and yet he does it every time he hits a ground ball.
Right.
I mean, and there are times when they boot the ball that he still doesn't get to first base. So that's one thing. So you got to find a nucleus to build the club around. Will they make some moves this winter? I think they have to. I think they got to go out and spend some money on 2 or 3 guys that aren't 35 years old, by the way. Get somebody in their middle, late 20s, just before they're going to get a free agency deal.
Sure.
Just before, and take your shot with that guy. If it's money, if money's what it's all about, the Ilitch family certainly has enough money to put a competitive team on the field. Why they didn't this past year and a half, 2 years now, this is not the Mike Ilitch team that we knew.
Right.
Mike Ilitch wanted to be competitive.
Yep.
look at his hockey team. Despite what's going on with the hockey team this year, I'll guarantee you by the time the year's over, that hockey team will be competitive. Yep. They're not probably going to win anything, but they'll be competitive. On the other hand, the Tigers, unless you spend the money, and that's the only way to get a team today, unless you wind up a miracle and you wind up signing 7, 8 kids that are really good players and you can start to develop them. But we don't have that luxury with our organization right now. We got a bunch of kids in the minor leagues that they're claiming, Mize and the other guy, Fuqua or whatever his name is, they're saying that these are the 2 guys that we're going to build our organization around. You don't build your organization around 2 pitchers. I mean, come on. And then last spring training, the El Oliva fiasco, and on one day he tells us the truth. He literally told us the truth. We had a lot of respect for him on a Saturday afternoon. He says, our club is not going to be very good. It's going to be a long couple, 2-3 years. We really do, for lack of a better term, they really do suck. You're just going to have to stay with us. We're asking you to be with us. 2 days later, he has another press conference and talk about, boy, we're so happy at the progress that we made. The team looks good. In spring training, we couldn't be more happy. Jesus, I mean, so what must have happened is somebody come in and kicked maybe Mr. Illich, the kid, and probably told him, listen, that is not the best prep speech we've ever heard in our life. Yep. You need to fix that. Yep. And I'm sure that's what he did, because I think it was shortly thereafter he got a new contract too. Mm-hmm. So, but it's what's amazing to me is they've made no effort yet. And right now would be the time you start making effort. Right now is the time. And they got to come up with 2-3 players. They just have to. They got to, they're talking about develop our own players. That's the old days when you could hang on to a guy for as long as you wanted to. You can't do it anymore. You got to go out and pay the money. The money is the only thing that moves these kids. And the other problem, we got a downside here. A lot of guys don't want to come to Detroit. The city of Detroit's got this reputation, and no matter, listen, I travel year round, and I promote out of Detroit. And I tell everybody it's not the same city it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's a much better, safer place. But, it's a tough thing to get over for people to believe, because the very next day you read about 3 people with guns robbing someplace or pulling another safe out of another building, an ATM machine. Yep. I mean, are we ever going to run out of ATM machines in Detroit? My God. Every day we got a new one or 2, and gas stations and guys going to get gas and getting shot. I mean, that's hardly good PR.
No, not at all. What would have happened back in 68, 69 when Mayo Smith was the manager if, let's say, Mickey Stanley hits that ground ball in legs like what Miggy is doing right now? What would Mayo have done back in that time frame?
You mean not hustle?
Yeah.
He'd have put him down.
Okay.
He just wouldn't have played for a couple days.
Okay.
Or Mayo style was he would give him another chance and just stay in the strongest terms. Listen, if you don't want to hustle, tell us, we'll get you out of here.
Okay.
That's what you have to do. That's how you got to approach it. And I can't believe they don't do that with Cabrera. I mean, listen, Cabrera, come here a minute. Listen, you like this town? And if he says no, goodbye.
Yep.
I mean, it's that easy. The problem is, sure, they'd love to trade him. They'd love to get him out of here. But they can't find anybody to take the 35 or 40 or 150 million that he still owed. No. Think about that, the amount of money that he's owed. What gets me is, when they gave him the last raise, why? You're just giving him $250 million and you gave him an extension. How much does he need? An extension? An extension from $250 million? Are you kidding? I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's and again, we don't have the guy at the top of the organization that knows enough about baseball and what to look for. There's one thing about people in baseball, football, basketball, whatever it is. Those who are really good have an inherent ability to recognize talent, raw talent. Yep. They can see if a guy's a better athlete than the rest of these guys. They can see if they can catch the ball better, get rid of the ball quicker, steal bases, go from first to third in a quicker time. They inherently have that talent. Dombrowski was one of the better ones I've ever seen. And you know what? But they gave him a checkbook too.
Right.
guys aren't just going to go because Dombrowski thinks they're a star. They still got to be pushed to take the check and come on and play with us, you know. And look at what we just saw in the playoffs in the World Series. We saw Porcello, Scherzer, Verlander, even the worst pitcher I think I've ever seen in the big leagues. What's his name?
Anibal Sanchez.
Sanchez. I mean, listen, I don't know. All of a sudden he found himself again. I don't. Well, maybe not, but I cannot believe that we had 5 guys that were Tigers all at one time, and none of them are with us now, and they're all playing in postseason and in the World Series.
Yep.
You know, I mean, go figure, because if that's not bad management, nothing is. Get rid of your better players. What, to save a couple bucks?
Right. Yeah, I mean, just even the pitching staff alone, you would look at how many were in that World Series.
Listen, I got a motto. If you can't afford it, don't buy it, and if you can't afford it, sell it. You know, and I suspect that that's got a lot to do with it. While they won't say they won't sell it, they were saying a couple little things this past summer that kind of indicated to me that they were looking for the right deal. And if we believe what we've heard, and I don't necessarily believe this, but when what's his name, the mortgage guy, Denny, the mortgage guy. Anyway, the biggest mortgage guy in the country, and when he had his heart attack, we were told that there was a deal coming with him because he owns the Cleveland Cavaliers now.
Oh, okay.
And we thought that he was getting in a position then to buy the ball club. But, you know, now with his heart attack, and none of us have seen him since he had the heart attack.
Yep.
So apparently this heart attack must have been a lot more serious than anybody thought.
Right.
You know, we all hoped it was just going to be a momentary thing, much like who's the politician who had the heart attack?
Biden?
No. Any of you people follow anything that I'm saying?
This is West
come on,
Michigan.
what's the guy's name? The old guy. Who? Bernie. Yeah, Bernie. Bernie has a heart attack. He's back on the trail 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
You know, to me, I think that's a miracle. But you know, the bottom line is if you can't rebound that quickly in that racket, of course, you're probably not going to get elected now anyway.
Right.
But if we could find some guys and we got tons of money in Detroit. Believe you me, there's real money in Detroit. God, we've been making cars there for 1,000 years. And it'd be nice to see a couple of guys step up and pay what the ball club's worth. Don't give them what the ownership thinks it's worth.
Right.
But because I read some articles recently, an NBA, Michael Jordan bought the 100% control of the basketball team that he's an owner in. And that organization today has a value of $3 billion.
Oh, my word.
Now, if you're telling me the basketball team has got a value of $3 billion, what's a major league franchise worth? You know, we're going more or less in the same places that the basketball teams are going. It's going to be interesting to see what happens now over the next couple of years with the Tigers. But I suspect that while they may not have ongoing conversations with people, I think they know that they probably need to get rid of this ball club, as well as the Lions. You know, I mean, that's, you know, there's no other club in the world that hasn't won in 100 years like our poor Lions, and the fans stay with them. The fans, I mean, I can't get over the support the Lions have. You know, I grew up in Chicago. I'm a Cub fan. We had the same blind vision for the Cubs that they do for the Lions. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. I enjoy watching the Lions. I still enjoy watching these crazy Cubs. And now they got rid of Joe Madden, they'll win again. Joe Madden was not the greatest genius in the world when it came to managing. But, you know, I suspect that the ball club will be sold in the next 2 to 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I really do.
Yep. Baseball as a whole, the World Series got done just this last week, almost into November.
Yeah.
Baseball as a whole, where do you think it's going? Better or worse?
Baseball's fine.
Yeah?
There's no problems with baseball. It's there are some bad ideas when it comes to new rules. You know, what people haven't paid a lot of attention to is one of the worst rules we heard, and it hasn't got very far so far, moving the mound back a foot, 6 inches or a foot. How much more do you want to put on the pitcher?
Yeah.
Another foot? That means it takes away that much fastball again. That means and this may not look like a lot to the audience, but another foot of velocity being taken away from a pitcher slows the ball down that much and gives them a little bit more than a nano and a half second to react. And that gives them enough time to see the ball if it's going to be a strike or not. It also gives them enough time, if they're a good hitter, to see which way the ball is spinning. Is it spinning like a curveball? Is it spinning like a slider? Is it spinning like a knuckleball? Whatever it might be, is it doing those things? And the good hitters can tell.
Sure.
There's no question that the good hitters can tell.
Yep.
But, you know, the other rules that they want to incorporate now, you can steal first base. How? With a gun and a knife? I mean, I don't get it. Can you and they actually did this up in the Eastern League.
Yes.
Guy, if you swing at strike 3, you miss it, you can steal first base if the catcher misses the ball. Or you can go anyway, whether he catches it or not, you're out.
Yep.
And then the other one is steal first base. Oh, they want, you know, just go to first base when we walk you.
Yep.
I can't tell you the number of times that I saw every year as a player, 10, 11 years, that I saw a hitter reach out across the plate and hit the ball someplace. I mean, now they want to take that away.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what's going to really hurt the game, and I mean this. They're going to bring this radar system in they have, and they're going to take the umpires away. That will be the biggest mistake they ever make. That'll be terrible.
Yep.
You know, they've taken away, as I call it, the Billy Martin syndrome. In other words, you never see Billy Martin out there kicking dirt at anybody anymore. Nobody even close. Nobody can argue with anybody anymore. If you open your mouth, it's a $10,000 fine, $25,000 fine, and you're then a putz.
Yep.
I mean, now you can't argue with yourself. So I don't know what they're going to do. All these new rules, and here's the thing. Excuse me. They say they want to speed the game up. Do you think stealing first base is going to speed the game up? You just threw 6 or 7 pitches. Right?
Probably not.
Right. I mean, excuse me. Going to first base, you save what, a minute and a half?
Right.
And we're talking intentional walk here.
Yep.
So we're not talking about somebody nitpicking the corners. I don't get it. If they want to, and I mean this, if they want to speed the game up, there's one way to do it. Raise the mound. Put the mound back where it was. Give the pitchers all of the assets back that they took away in '69 from us, and let these kids go out there and pitch. Yes, the kids will even throw the ball faster with more leverage. Absolutely, it happens. It'll give them a better breaking ball. It'll give them a lot of good things that they can play with then at that point in time. But I don't know what they're watching in New York. They're not watching the same games that we are. They're just not. It's too bad, because these nickel-dime little things that they're trying to incorporate, they don't work. They just don't work. Stealing first base, my God. Last time somebody stole first base, I think I had it on the table out here. And somebody, a collector, I think, stole the base.
Back to your career. Who was the last batter that you faced? Do you remember?
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. Did he get a hit?
Single.
Okay. Good for him.
A big deal.
Just a single.
Just a single. No, Pete and I have known each other, 50-some years. And in fact, we do a lot of shows together.
Okay.
And he's just fun to be around. Does he belong in the Hall of Fame? No, certainly not, because he bet on Cincinnati to lose. People don't realize that. He bet on Cincinnati to lose. Now, the argument now can be made, because you can bet on baseball games now.
Sure.
You can bet on football, basketball. Even the college kids now be able to sell their likeness.
Yep.
If Pete is allowed into the Hall of Fame, the guys in 1919, the Black Sox, have to be given consideration to be in the Hall of Fame too. That's number 2. Pete, the argument can be made that if they're going to legalize gambling now, what Pete did at the time was wrong, but it's okay now. So remove his conviction, for lack of a better term, and let the Hall of Fame decide what he should be. What I'm afraid is And now remember now, Pete is now allowed to go into the parks.
Yep.
He's now allowed to be a part of a lot of things going on in baseball. They didn't allow the 1919 Black Sox to get involved ever again with baseball. I mean, they let the drug guys in baseball. I mean, Fergie Jenkins, who's a friend of mine, knows I talk like this all the time. Fergie, was convicted of a drug conviction going across the line. Orlando Cepeda was caught doing 400 kilos of cocaine down in New Orleans. He's in the Hall of Fame. So, you know what? It's who do you want in the bubble this year? That's who gets in the Hall. It's become and I don't say this to criticize anybody, it's just the way it's now shaped.
Yep.
It's shaped in the favor of being a part of the group, whatever that group is. And it's going to be interesting to see as the group from our era moves on and passes away and they get in the newer group. We'll see what happens if they change any of that, because the way they're doing the Hall of Fame right now, I think is pretty unfair.
Yep.
I mean, especially when you think, and I'm not putting them down, please don't misunderstand me. Jack Morris, Jack was a very good pitcher, but he had an ERA of almost 4, within a decimal point or two of having a 4 ERA. No one's even come close getting in the Hall of Fame with an ERA of 4. Yeah, he was a bulldog and he did this and he did that, but so did Jim Cott, winning 285 games. Tommy John, 280 wins. I can name 25 guys right now that belong in the Hall of Fame that won more than 250, 60 games. And yet Jack got in. And I mean, and please, I mean, he was on our team.
Sure.
I mean, he was our guy. And I thought it was great he got in. Any Detroit guy that gets in, I'm really pleased. But, fairness is one of those terms that should be applied, and I think in this case it wasn't. Plus, it was a new doorway to put people in.
Right.
It wasn't the system that's currently in place. I'm interested to see what happens this year. I'll really be surprised if they go, if it winds up being another type guy, Jack Morris.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he doesn't belong in there, but he belongs in there if the vote is the same vote that everybody else has to go through. It's the same test. And to take somebody out of the test, I think just doesn't make fairness the word of the day.
Sure. One last question. Who from your era do you think
Thank God, this is so boring. Boy, the other guy was so much better.
Who from your era do you think should be in the Hall of Fame? That's not.
Oh, I don't know. Jim Cott,
Okay.
Tommy John, Tony Oliva. Tony Oliva was the greatest hitter I ever saw in my life,
Yep.
and I don't think you'll get an argument from anybody. Tony was the best hitter that most of us ever saw. He was quick, he was decisive, he was a good player, he was a gentleman all the time. He only played the game to win, and he showed. You know what he did? He showed up every day to play.
Sure.
And he's not a Cabrera. Tony's got a set of balls on him. He wants to go out. Tony wants to play today. I don't blame him the way the pitching is, with the pitching so bad. I mean, when you think about the pitching we just saw in the World Series, we had 4 of the best pitchers in baseball. And it really was a good World Series. I mean, no one can, especially the last 2 games. And I might add, on our podcast that we do, I said before the World Series started that Washington would win it. And then when I was down 2, everybody on the show, Eli and the other guy that does the show, this is Bob Page, they all say, well, I'll bet you're ready to dump your team now. I said, listen, if Scherzer gets hot and Strasburg just throws strike, because I think Strasburg had the best stuff of anybody.
Yes.
If Strasburg stays healthy, I said, they're still going to win it. They got better pitching. Oh, they do not. I said, you watch. I said, I'm not throwing them overboard yet, and I guess I'll have to throw them overboard when they lose the next one, but I don't think they will. Lo and behold, I got the champs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of your podcast, what's that all about, real quick?
Well, it's called No Filter Sports Podcast. It's No Filter Sports Podcast, or Eli and Denny Podcast. And we do, it's on 24/7. So you go to No Filter Sports Podcast, and we've got about 90 shows up there already.
Okay.
And as I said, we've had a great, knock on wood, we've had a great deal of success with it. We have great guests. We have Pete Rose, Dick Vitale, Cicerelli, they call him the perfect man from the Red Wings, Lindstrom?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had everybody. We got guys calling us to get on the show,
Okay.
which is kind of a nice thing. And we're just having a great time with it. It's I promise you this: if you listen to it one time, you'll listen to it a second and a third time. It's that good. And there is no phonyism on the show. In other words, we don't go after each other just to go after each other for sakes. When I jump on Bob Page's butt or Eli's butt, that's real stuff because they're so damn ignorant.
All right, Denny, we'll let you get back to it. I know. Oh, you're going to shake now?
Have a good day.
Thank you very much. As always, it's a pleasure.
You buying lunch?
Wish your bride well for me.
Thank you very much. I
And
appreciate
sure,
that.
I'll buy you lunch.
And everybody out there, if you know the Hail Mary, the Our Father, just for the hell of it, just for the hell of it, give me one. That's all. In Sharon's name.
Thanks, Denny.
Thank you.
We are joined now by Jane, who is Stubby's daughter. Well, good to see you as always, once again.
Nice to see you.
How have you been?
I've been very well.
Good.
And you? I mean, I wept a little bit this last season, but
Yeah.
hey,
I think
you got to take the good with the bad.
I think anybody and everybody that's a Tigers fan had a rough season this last year.
We did. We did.
If I remember right, you used to have things down by the lake that you would move around when they weren't winning. I bet you did a lot of moving this year.
I did. I moved that sign all over the property. I moved it. I'm trying to think when I put it up in the shed in the lot next door. I even took a picture of it and said, the sign is going in the shed, and we'll get it out again next year. So that's it didn't help us this year.
No.
We were hoping and hoping, but
Yep.
but I did enjoy the World Series.
Yes.
We weren't there, but I enjoyed it.
There you go.
I thought it was great.
Yep,
It's
absolutely.
good baseball, and I like to see a team win that hasn't had the opportunity.
Right.
And the guys get the rings, and so.
Yep. It almost felt like Houston was just expecting it to come to them. I thought at times it just.
I know it. But we did see some good baseball.
Yes, there was.
Saw some really good
Yes, there
baseball,
was.
so
And
I
some
enjoyed
good
that.
Tigers had
Yep.
very good performances.
Good performances, and got their ring.
Yes.
And I think that's wonderful.
Very good to see.
Yep. So.
So I was just looking at that coat. There is a lot
Jacket?
of sparkle and everything else. That is very sharp.
I've got a story. I always have a story. You want to hear it?
We definitely want to hear it.
So, this is about 6 years ago. I was in a shop that a lot of ladies shop in. I won't give them a plug. It's a clothing store that has designer labels, but things are marked down usually. So I walked in, and they had not just one. They had like 8 of these jackets for $11.
Oh my goodness!
And I thought, shoot, I can do $11. And I found my size, and I came home with it. I was so excited about this jacket. And my husband looked at it and said, did it ever occur to you why that was only $11? And I was like, well, I thought it was so kind of sharp. And he said, I can't use the word he used, but in other words, it made me look cheap, he said, And I was like, my feelings were hurt. So I put it in the closet, didn't have it out for, I'm going to say at least 6 years. Well, last September, my cousins, the other Overmire group, wanted to go to the ball game, and I thought, by gosh, it's cold. I'm going to wear that jacket. And my husband didn't go with us. He goes, good luck. So we walked into the stadium. We weren't even to our seats, and I bet 3 women stopped me and said, oh my gosh, where did you get that jacket? And I said, $11 on the sale rack and they were like, oh no. And so I thought, oh shoot, I feel pretty good about this jacket now.
Now what do you think,
I
honey?
know. So then, after the game, we went back to the hotel and went into the bar to have a glass of wine. And the bartender, this young girl, said, "That's the most fabulous jacket I have ever seen." And I told her the story, $11 on the sale rack and she goes, "I'll give you $100 for it."
Oh my goodness.
I said, "No, I don't really think I want to sell it." And she goes, "I will, I'll give you $100 right now." And I said, "No, that's all right." So I got home and I told my husband, I said, this jacket was the star of the ball game. I think we lost the game too. And I told him, he was disappointed I didn't take the $100, quite frankly. But I like it. I think it's got a little personality.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to take it someplace and see if they can put Overmire on the back.
There you go.
So I said, boy, that jacket's staying with me now.
There you go,
So-
absolutely.
so that's
You're
what-
outnumbered, honey. It looks
yeah, I know
good.
it looks good. Like I said, he thought I should have taken the $100, but so I thought I'd wear it today.
That's good. I like
So,
that.
Thanks.
I like that, absolutely. I know we've talked about this in the past a little bit. When Stubby was playing ball and you guys were making the rounds and everything,
Right.
what was that like back at that time?
Well, I think I've said this before. It's a lot different now.
Sure.
It wasn't really. Dad didn't play for the money.
Yep.
You know, he wasn't making that much money, and we'd pack up like in February. Pack the car up. We always had a station wagon, and we'd go for the rest of the year, and we'd drop him off in Lakeland, and then we would go on to usually Miami. We had friends that lived there, and we'd live with them.
Okay.
While Dad was in spring training. Then we'd drive back up there, pick him up, and go wherever. You know, it could have been Montgomery or Little Rock or Jamestown or Charleston, West Virginia, Valdosta, Georgia. We were all over the place.
Sure.
So then we'd spend the rest of the summer there and go to the ball yard every day. That's all we had to do. We always found kids to play with.
Sure.
My mom always found a place for us to swim, just to entertain us.
Yep.
And it wasn't a glamorous life by any means,
Sure.
but we loved it. We didn't really we thought everybody lived that way, like gypsies, you know?
Yep.
You pack up, you go someplace. But I think a lot of it too was informal education. You got to live in an area that was different than Grand Rapids, Michigan. Especially when I went to school 1957, I was a fourth grader and I went to school in Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay.
So it was a real learning experience too, and I think that was beneficial. I know I asked my mom sometimes, because sometimes she wouldn't put us in school. We'd leave in January and we never went back to school till the following September.
Wow.
And I said, "Were we homeschooled?" And she would say, "Well, sort of," you know. But a lot of it was just, you know, living in an area that had different norms, you know, different climate, and it was quite an education.
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm
so
sure.
and we saw a lot of baseball. So you know, I always I taught phys ed for 35 years, so I'd ask my dad sometimes. We'd get home from a game and I'd say, "Okay, now, why'd we lose?" Because I wanted to know the strategy or, you know, whatever. And he'd say, "Because the other team scored more runs than we did."
One of those technical things.
So that was I didn't learn anything about that strategy, you know, but that's all he would say. But
Sure.
It was a different lifestyle,
Yep.
and I don't regret it for a minute.
I was just going to say, I bet not one that you would trade with anybody.
No, we learned, like I said, a lot of it was informal education, but it was valuable education
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
You know?
Life's lessons.
Life's lessons, absolutely.
Yep, firsthand and.
Yep, we lived in a lot of it,
Yep.
you know, and but everybody loved baseball, so you were always popular kid.
Sure.
You know, Dad always had tickets, or we didn't even need tickets most of the time. We just walked in, but you know, so we'd make friends with kids in the neighborhood, and then we'd all go to the ball game.
Yep.
And so it was fun.
That's great. Yeah, now you wonder, you know, with the way the athletes are these days, with the amount of money that they make and everything else, it's almost like once they get to spring training or anything else, the family is gone and they're still back home wherever.
They don't travel like we did.
No.
But I think it was probably because of the money.
Right.
You know, Mom could have stayed home, but then when's the paycheck come?
Yep.
And so I think that was the difference. And we went to the ball games.
Sure.
That's all there was to do. And I think now a lot of the families don't do that, don't take advantage of that.
Yep.
My mom said I used to crawl around Yankee Stadium and eat the gum off the bottom of the seats. So I don't know, but that's what she said. I was probably, see, if I was born in 48 and Dad was there in 51, so I wasn't very old, but that's what she said. But, you know, you didn't get a babysitter. You went to the, you know.
Right.
And so our days were very much, you know, late mornings, and then Dad had to go to the ballpark, and then late nights, you know.
Yep.
So, but like I said, I wouldn't trade it.
No, not at all. And there's always a thing or two back there in the auction area that came from you. I'm sure this year is no exception.
I brought the cornhole game.
Okay.
I met a man. I was going to a art in the park thing in Lake Odessa. Does anybody know where Lake Odessa is? My mother was born there, so I know where Lake Odessa is. And I had to park a little ways away from the park, which is right downtown Lake Odessa, or down by the lake. And so I parked on a side street. It was quite crowded, and I'm walking down the side street, and there this guy had these cornhole games. He had his garage door open, and I thought he was part of the sale. I said, "Oh, you have those for sale?" And he goes, "Well, I can sell them." And I said, "Oh, you're not part of the art show?" And he goes, "Oh no," because he had several in his garage. He just makes them. And I said, "Oh, I'd like to get those for the auction at Lee High School." And I started telling him about it, and he said his niece went here and played softball.
Oh, no kidding.
So he gave me a good deal on them, and he said, so he did the bean bags. They also light up the hole. He put a light strip in there. It's got on a little battery switch, so if you play at night, it'll light up. So I got those from Bob the Builder, he said his name was. And then he made me a set too, because I wanted to have them at home. So yeah, that's what I brought this year.
Good deal.
I'm hoping that somebody will take that game home.
I'm sure they will.
Donate some money to the school and take that game home.
I'm sure they will.
So,
do you still go to games?
What?
I mean, obviously you
Wore
do,
my
but I
jacket.
mean...
Try to get down there, not really very often, maybe once a year. We try to go more to the Whitecaps, but we haven't done that. I went to a dinner this year in February and talked to Lance Parrish, who I hadn't seen for 40, I don't know how long, gosh, when he played for Lakeland. And I told him, I said, I'll come to a game, because he said, why don't you come? And when our kids were little, we went a lot.
Okay.
But I said, okay, Lance, when I go, if you hear someone say, make Stubby proud, you'll know he said, then I'll know you're there. So, but we didn't even get there this summer, so it's too bad. But I still love the game.
Sure.
And when I'm there, I love it. It's just trying to get there, and so.
And now, like we were talking last night, where it used to be a 2 hour 15 thing, now it's 3.5.
It's a long. I know. It's a commitment.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's very much a commitment. So, but we do enjoy going, and we love the stadium, and just being in the atmosphere. I think if you're raised in the game, just walking in. I like afternoon games where the grass is green. You walk in, and then it's just a different energy.
Yes.
And in Detroit, it's still good energy. They've tried to, stand behind their guys, and I think it's wonderful.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, my wife and I took a vacation this year into New York, and I actually went into Yankee Stadium for the first time ever. And obviously it's the new one, not the old one.
Not the old one.
I had driven by the old one, but had never been in that one either. And even walking in there, you just kind of look around and you just picture of everything. It's amazing.
It is. It's such a wonderful. It's a wonderful game. I mean, I know the kids now think sometimes, well, it's slow or it's boring or it's, and it really isn't. I mean, if you have the love of the game, it's never boring.
No.
I mean, you're always looking around and checking things out, and that's why my dad always made me sit behind the screen. He said, "You're not paying attention. You're going to be killed by a ball." So, which is unfortunate. They've had some bad accidents.
Yes,
but
they
he said,
have.
"You've got to pay attention." Well, you get a little distracted sometimes
absolutely.
watching. You know. So, but I do. I love the game. I love the energy of it. I really love minor league ball. I love watching these young guys. You're going to see some fabulous plays, and you're going to see some plays that you're like, what? You know, and the ball drops, you know. But that's part of the beauty of the game.
Yes.
You know, it's watching these young kids mature.
Right.
And we always love to see the guys that came from Lakeland or came from the Whitecaps or came from Jamestown or whatever, wherever we were, make the big club.
Sure.
It was like, oh my gosh, you know, they're living the dream.
Yep. I remember
So-
when he was down here and he was working his tail off just to get to the next level, and here he is at the big level.
Yeah.
Yep,
You know,
absolutely.
or you watch some of the pictures and you think, oh my Lord, I don't know. And then the next season, they've matured,
Sure.
they've learned, you know, they've grown in the game,
Yep.
and they're moving on. So I still love it.
Good.
And we're out west and we watched every World Series game. I mean, we had to get back to the hotel or the motel to make sure, and we're on a different time
Sure.
zone out there, so it's like, what time's the game? Is it 7 o'clock tonight or 6 o'clock? Where are we? Well, we're in Utah. It's going to be 6. So we'd, actually what we would do, we don't even eat out. We go and get takeout, bring it back so we can watch the game, you know, and not be interrupted. So
There you go.
so we did see a lot of really
Good.
good baseball, and we
Yep.
enjoy it. We
Good
do
deal.
enjoy it.
Well, Jane, as always, it's a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you.
Always great to see you, and we thank you for taking the time to visit with us for a little bit.
And sharing my jacket.
And sharing that jacket. I agree.
My $11 jacket. I'm
There you
telling you,
go.
you're
Sounds
going to get
like
all kinds of phone calls now. People are going to want to know where they can get
What
this jacket.
was that place that she wouldn't say?
Yeah. So,
All
yeah,
right.
thanks so much.
Thank you, Jane.
So nice to
Appreciate
see
it.
you again.
Daddy got soul, and Mama got his best friend. I've got
Well, we are joined now by Jon Warden. Jon, welcome to Wyoming Lee, sir.
Good to be here, man. I've never been out west before. Oh, it's the city of Wyoming. I wondered why I took it. It didn't take me so long.
That's where you were last night.
I was last night. I was clear out of Wyoming. I flew back. I took Trump's Learjet, Air Force 3. Yeah.
Well, how did you get hooked up with Denny?
Well, you know, it's like this. He's already burned bridges with the other 23 guys on the team, and 10 of them are dead. They still won't come back and sign with him. So I'm still the guy with the hook in his mouth. But thank God for Ty and the organization here. They paid me already.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they gave me $5 and a tank of gas. So you know,
And you get a rebel dog before you go home.
Denny says the dogs were good.
They are good.
Yeah, I'm having one of those puppies. I'll tell you that. Maybe 2. Yeah, I don't want to have to stop because if it's snowing out, I got to keep it going. I got to go to Cincinnati, man. I got to get back in promised land. But Denny's he's a good guy, and he's just sometimes does some things that maybe he shouldn't have done, and he's his own worst enemy. But hey, we've all had our faults, so who cares?
Say.
He's a teammate, and he's a big part of that team. And like I said last night, he and I were 35-7 combined. I had 4. But I got the season started with the 3 in a row.
Yep.
Yeah, the appearances, and you mentioned that I think last night, wasn't it? You brought, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
And that was a key. And I was kidding with him. I said, if you called me up in '67, I'd have probably picked up a couple wins that you didn't get. And we won back-to-back World Series champs.
Exactly. Came up one game short in '67, so
but
they
I've
were
always
taking care of it.
exactly see. But I always stayed in touch, and even though he did some crazy things, and I went to a roast in Warren, Michigan.
Okay.
And he probably wouldn't bring this up. And I would first we got a segment going here, Ty. Thanks, Ty. We're in studio here. So Denny calls me February. He said, I want you to come up to Warren, Michigan in May. They're going to roast me. There was a Polish, it's something or other, Hall of Fame. I said, yeah, I'm in that. Jon Warden and I went in. He goes, how'd you get in? Before me. I said, in prison. I said, they couldn't get you out to get it inducted. He's all right. I said, I'm not coming. I will not come. Come on, you'll be funny and it'll be great. And I'll pay you, or they'll pay you. And I said, well, it's not that. I'll tear you up and you'll be pissed off at me. No. So I go. Well, I did a bit at Mark Ridley's Comedy Club in Detroit. And so my wife was driving down the street road one day, and they had the county workers out there in these orange suits picking paper up.
Sure.
So she stopped and asked the guy where they got the uniforms, the foreman there. He said, there's a couple exits up, go to the right, go in that town, and it's like a store, that they sold rugs and, like a Centos or whatever. So she bought one, put McLain on the back, put 17 on it. And there was a number up here, he put 1968 -6 -31 and 6. 1968 31-6. That was his number. So this comedy club, I come out, I had two guys to warm up the crowd. I come out in this orange jumpsuit, about 500 people there. Place was sold out. And they hit the ground right then. I didn't even say a word. I said, hey, good to be here. And I'm going, what's so funny? And they're like, oh my God. So I went on, I did. The guy called me, and Mark Ridley, the guy, says, now, stand-up's tough. And I've done a lot. Being a school teacher, stand-up, you're in front of kids every day. Sure. I mean, he said, can you do 30 minutes by yourself? I said, I can do 30 minutes on Denny McLain. Really? Yeah. I said, you kidding me? After 30 minutes, I could go, you just tell him, stand in the back and tell me when I'm finished. Which actually he did in a little bit, I'll tell you. So I go about 10, 15 minutes. And I said, look, I'm going to change. So I go back, the guy that opened up, he came out. So I take the jumpsuit off. I go back out, and I knocked him out. So finally this guy's in the back, and he's going like this. And so I finished. I did an hour 5.
Oh my goodness.
He goes, we ran out of beer. He said, you were not cutting an HBO special. Jeez, going on here, man. I said, you told me I can do 30 minutes. He said, yeah, you got to save some stuff for later. I might want to bring you back. So I decided to go up to this Polish dinner. And I knew I had to go because they called me, wanted a picture. I said, you know what, Denny's already told him that I'm coming. He didn't, before he even asked me, I guarantee you. And Tom Matchick.
Okay.
We're the only two left. And then Matchick dropped out after we didn't get paid for that one. I'm done with him. Because he called Tom to see if he'd come up here. So anyway, Tom Paciorek went. Paciorik's a funny guy. Played for like 17 years. Mm-hmm. He's from Warren. And he chewed the mayor up. He ate him up alive. The mayor was dumb as a door. How he got elected, I don't know. Well, I'm sorry. Sorry to please me. So anyway, I'm not real PC. You'll find that out. So they said, Eli Zaret's emceeing. Of course, that's the only other guy that Denny will hang out, or he'll hang out with Denny. He wrote a couple of his books. And I said, yeah, that book was great, man. 18 pages of pictures and 2 pages in the front and 2 in the back. I bet you sell them babies. So anyway, so I'm back behind this petition, putting this orange jumpsuit on. I brought it with me. So I put it on. He's sitting like this. I come out. He saw me. Everybody's like dying. And he goes, and I went, so I get up there and I went, how you doing, Denny? He goes, he was tongue-tied. You know, Denny, you can't stump him. He's hard because he'll go on too. Don't let him get on Daryl too much. So I said, well, I thought I'd wear this. And I said, you probably have one of these. Do you have orange? I said, I've been in so many prisons. Let's see, we got a blue, maybe a chartreuse or something, or maybe one with polka dots. And he's just shaking his head like, you sorry. Yeah. And so then I went on and told some stories about him and things that we'd done. And I mean, we had a bunch of priests there and a bunch of women. And the guy Eli even said, hey, we'll keep it real vanilla if you want it to, or you want it to be like a real stag. No, tell it all. Tell it like it is. So we're airing it out, baby. Didn't have to tell me about doing that. So we finish up, or I finish up, and then it's Denny's turn to come up and then sort of bash the other guys. And he got up and said, Paciorek, that was great. The mayor is stupid, isn't he? And then he came to Magic. And Magic, he said, Tom, your jokes were the worst ever, and they are. Magic tells half the stuff that I tell, and he tells it terrible and mixes things up. And I said, Matty, quit talking, quit telling my stories. You weren't even there to half of them. So he told Magic what he did. Then he looks at me and he goes, you know what? We've been here a long time, so why don't we just wrap it up and you guys have a good. He stopped. I had him so upside down, inside out, he couldn't even talk. So Denny goes, we get down off the stage, and I got the judge sitting beside me. He was like the president of the association of the charity thing. And Denny's going to ride on the float at Labor Day, in the parade in Warren. So I said, yeah, you'll be lucky he shows up. So anyway, we get finished, and Magic says, hey, get our money. I said, well, you can come with me. Are we afraid of Denny? So we go up and said, Denny, you got the money? Oh, man, I didn't bring a checkbook. I want a check from him. I don't think so. Ding, dong, 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 dong. So I said, all right, so now catch this one. Denny says, if you give me your bank account number, I'll you and Magic go, that I ain't doing. I don't give it. My wife doesn't have my bank account number. I said, mine neither. I said, what are you talking about? I'm not gonna give you mine. He said, well, you got Venmo or PayPal? I don't have any of that stuff. I go to the bank, give them the thing, they stamp it and check it, and been running through a machine, and it's over with. So we didn't get paid. So it goes on. A couple weeks later, now he personally told us how much he's going to pay us, and he would pay. And still got paid. Thank God for Ty. Ty took care of it. Paid for the. I mean, they didn't even pay for a room. The room even got charged to me, but then the judge felt bad about that, and he reimbursed me. But he blamed the charity.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. But I said, well, my wife goes, you're stupid going up there. I said, honey, believe me, Denny and I just, well, anyway, and then the program, of course, I get to that Polish thing. There's my picture in the program. And then if I don't go, then I'm the jerk.
Yep.
Then, what a butthole. Why did he show up? So I go, and then I came to this. I said, and I wanted to come up here. I don't know you guys. And talked to Ty, and seemed like a good cause. And I coached baseball for 10 years in high school, and 2 years in college. I was a pitching coach at the University of Cincinnati.
Yep.
Then I went out west with Darrell Evans for 3 years. We did the independent ball.
Okay.
And had a blast. Just didn't make any money. And after we were there 4, 5, and 6, I think. Then I just said, Darrell, I can't. He got fired, which was great, because Darrell's one of my best friends. And I wasn't going to come back. I'm going, how am I going to tell him I'm not coming back? When then he gets fired, I went, yeah, all right. Hey, Darrell, tough break, man. Well, I think I got something planned. Don't get another job.
Does this mean I'm gone too?
I guess I'm gone. Are they cleaning house? Do I get to stay? No, I think we're all gone. Okay. So, but anyway, it's a good ride. Denny's a good guy. I mean, he's so personal. He's smart. He can talk about anything. You mentioned politics or school boards or voting or bond levies. I mean, that guy, he knows something about all this stuff. He's well read.
Yeah.
And he had a great radio show and in Detroit until he got in trouble with that meatpacking company. And that ended a big career, I mean, for him. So, I mean, and Sharon, his wife's just the sweetest thing in the world, and I think she's been up here before.
Yes, she has.
And she's one of my favorite people, and my heart aches for her.
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, I even told her, I said, how'd you end up remarrying that guy? Because she divorced him while he was in prison.
Yep.
And then they got remarried, and that was good. And Denny's, I mean, he's having a hard time because Parkinson's and
Sure.
stroke and everything like that. And
Yep.
and she's such a super person that doesn't deserve that. There's so many idiots out there in this world that'll live to be 100, and she's just struggling.
Yeah, big time.
So I feel bad for him about that, and I always ask about her
Yep.
and everything. But but Denny's a good guy at heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's
Absolutely.
good. And you always have fun with him.
Yep.
And it's funny when you even though we played together, there's so many things in baseball because we're big numbers guys, stats and stuff. Basketball, football guys, they don't remember that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll say, yeah, remember he has it up 3-2 count, and I threw him that slider. They're going, how do you remember that? Because I did it. I was there, and I did it. And then Denny, I remember Denny when you gave Mantle that home run. Oh, he told that story last night.
So your career,
Yep.
you drafted in '66, if I remember.
66, yeah, 4th round supplemental draft, January 66.
Okay.
January 29th, see the numbers?
There you go.
4th round pick, and signed with the Tigers. Always wanted to play baseball. My mom, I grew up without a dad. He left home when I was 3, and I lived on a 150-acre farm that belonged to my grandfather.
Wow.
And so they were working it, and he had a dairy, and he had dairy cows. And if you know anything about dairy cows, if you milk them at 6 in the morning and 6 at night, that's every day of your life.
Yep.
You don't change and milk them at noon and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So my grandfather sold the milk cows, but we always still had chickens and pigs and sheep and stuff like that. And so I grew up without a dad. My mom never remarried until after I got married. And but it was, the man upstairs touched my arm and said, hey, go get him, and gave me a gift, and I utilized it. And people used to ask me in this little town of Harrisburg that I grew up in, or outside of it, and they come up, what are you going to be, Johnny, when you grow up? I said, I'm going to pitch in the big leagues. They're going, oh, yeah, right. Really, what a real Johnny. So I'm going to be in the big leagues. And I got to be in the big leagues. How many people get to sit down at 8 or 10 years old and say what they want to do, and they get to do it? And to get to do that was just, right place, right time.
Yep.
Timing's everything. Tigers need pitching help. Had 2 years of A-ball. These other guys, I go to camp, and all of them are all AAA, AA
Sure.
guys, and maybe I think I was the only guy out of single A that even got put on the major league roster.
Yep.
And then make the team, to boot, which is just out of sight. I was living. I'm a blessed person, believe me. I've done more things than most people have done, and I'm blessed.
Yep.
I appreciate it. I'm meeting people. I can see you guys 5 years from now, and hey, man, I remember that I was up there. I always remember a face. I remember faces all the time. Now yours I might forget. I don't know. Yeah, but it was a good career. I got hurt. I got drafted. When the unfortunate thing happened to me in baseball is I got drafted by the Kansas City Royals in '69.
Expansion draft?
It was in '68. They expanded to Kansas City and Seattle.
Okay.
So Ray Orler, what happens is 40-man roster, you can protect 15 guys. If you look at that 68 roster, you get to 15 pretty quick.
In a hurry.
I wasn't in one of them. I knew I wouldn't be.
Sure.
I was hoping I'd be, but anyway, you can protect 15, and then when the team takes a player, you can protect 3 more.
Okay.
So Seattle took Ray Orler because they sort of went with veteran guys. They tried to build a team right away. Don Mincer, Gary Bell, Jim Bouton. They had an older team. Royals drafted more middle, younger, some AAA guys, stuff like that. So they pulled 3 guys back then. So now they've got 18 protected.
Okay.
And I wasn't in the first 3 to get pulled back. Who the Royals picked? Me. I'm like, daggone it. So I'm a Kansas City Royal. But backing up, Game 1 of the World Series in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So the 6th reliever, we're walking out to the bullpen. Bullpen's in left field. So we're walking down third baseline. Some guy over here goes, hey, Warden. So I look over. He goes, you're going to be wearing one of these next year. Guy the Kansas City Royals hat.
No kidding.
I went, okay, yeah, right. Yeah, sure. Give me a 7.5. Son of a gun, if they don't draft me. I said, who was that guy?
Was that their GM out there or
He
what?
might have been, man. I don't know. He yelled at me. So I go in spring training, and I'm throwing the ball well, and first start against the Twins over in Orlando, I'm in the third inning, and Joe Gordon was our manager.
Okay.
A former Hall of Famer. Played at Cleveland, second baseman, and great guy, but he was like probably 92. Mel Harder was a pitching coach. He was 105. I think they embalmed him 3 weeks before the season started, and they just didn't know it. So then, and then they had, I forget who else they had another coach, JoJo White, and he was 80. But anyway, because I'm 22, so they all look like they were
Sure.
100. So go out there, first 2 innings, boom, 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 get them out. But I just didn't have that little pop that I'd had. And I thought, well, man, what's going on? So Joe Gordon goes, hey, where's that 95-mile-an-hour fastball we drafted? And I said, I spent 4.5 months at Fort Dix, New Jersey doing basic training.
Okay.
So I was outside in the winter and doing the parallel bars and crawling around the dirt and stuff and playing Army and all that. So I think I did something then because we were always on these bars and I tore it. That's where the tear was down here.
Okay.
And then they have these punji sticks where they got padding on each end and you got to beat like bull in the ring. They put one guy out there and then take through the biggest guy and they go beat of him. You know, he's got to protect himself. And they always pick the pansy that come out in the middle and we're beating him to death. So during that or what, I don't know. So, but anyway, I got spring training and just so on that one pitch in the third inning, pop. That was it. Might as well have gone, okay, put him in a glue bottle. If I was a racehorse, I'd have been in the glue bottle right now. But that's the way the game goes.
Yes.
Now, you know, pitchers, you're one pitch away from your last one. And I was no hard feelings. I got to do things that millions of guys wanted to do when they were growing up as being a major league pitcher.
Yep.
Or play baseball at all, not just pitch, but be a major league player.
Sure. And as we said last night, you still hold the record from those first 3 wins that you got as a reliever.
Only relief pitcher in history of the game to win these first 3 appearances.
Yep.
And it's held up to made the 19 season. Now we've got to go into 20. But you think about it, you get in the game, not many guys. You pitch 1 or 2 guys, maybe you're out the next inning.
Right.
Pinch hit for you and da-da-da. So it'll be even harder now because they don't have to pinch hit for you because the pitchers don't hit anyway.
Yep.
Well, unless you're in the National League. So, but anyway, I'm blessed. I had fun time doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that 68 Tigers thing.
Sure.
I mean, there's guys that played on the 68 Washington Senators. And people go, do you guys ever get together? So we get together all the time.
Yep.
I said, we got a reason to get together. Those guys on the 40 or on the 68 Washington Senators, which he's got a Washington hat on, they were about 45 games out of first place in 68. Why would they even want to see each other again? So, yeah, I mean, that's the difference.
Absolutely.
We had a close-knit group. Everybody was pulling for each other. And you knew walking in that locker room that these guys are pissed off about 67.
Oh, I bet.
Because they were a good team.
Yes.
They had a good team. And they walked in that locker room, and, buddy, it wasn't any, they didn't haze the rookies, because, they'll do stuff with the rookies and make you do stuff, wear a dress or something. Although Darrell Patterson enjoyed it when he wore it. Magic did, too. Yeah, he was a cross-dresser. We'd see him out at night at some of the bars. And so he looked good in red, that red. But it was just, to get to do the stuff we did was just phenomenal. And meet the people that we met like 3 presidents and, different people, politicians and entertainers, Smothers Brothers, and just people I know now, like Tim McGraw was Tug's son, and he and I are good friends, and Joe Walsh from the Eagles. He and I are best buddies, and, he just loved baseball.
Sure.
I got him a shirt. He was a big Indians fan, grew up in Cleveland. I was doing batting practice for them, and it had a blank back to it, but it was an Indians road jersey. And they gave me that at their batting practice.
Okay.
So I kept that once they didn't sign me. And so I had it in the house, and Joe was coming off his drug problem. And he was drinking these little vials of meth or whatever. They make you drink that, and makes you high but takes you down or whatever. So I said, what can I give him? Because he is such a fan. And I saw that jersey the next year. I had this game in the spring. And I said, Carol, told my wife, take that shirt to that guy, put Walsh on the back, 49. Because he wrote one of his big hits was Funk 49.
Okay.
When he was before he got with the Eagles. So I gave that to him. Oh my golly. You'd have thought I gave him a gold brick. He goes, you got to be kidding me. He took the shirt off he had on for that game and wore that Funk 49 jersey. He wore it every year we had it out.
I'll be there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yep.
And to get, I was an extra in a Tom Selleck movie, Innocent Man. And Selleck was a big Tiger fan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hawaii 5-0 and everything. So I ended up getting in it because I took a picture down with me. I said, who's the guy that does this? It's just a cattle call. There were 300 people there for guys, guys had tattoos and earrings, long hair. I said, oh, they're going to get it because they had this prison scene. It's about being in prison. And of course, my name's the warden. I could have been the warden. So he said, I'd take care of things. Well, give this picture to Tom. I played for the 68 Tigers, and I said to Tom, great Tiger fan, Jon Warden, 68 champs. So they're going down, okay, you're in, you're out, and he points to me, you're in. So I'm in. So now I'm there sitting back like this in the gymnasium, waiting to get called in for the next scene. And so one day the guy walks up to me and he had a Tiger hat on and he said, I'm Tom's lighting guy. I've been with him like every movie he's done, everything, and he knows, I told him you were here. He wants to meet you after the next scene's done. I said, oh, great, man. Because you couldn't wear any jewelry, so I had this in my pocket. So after the next scene, he said, when everybody goes back to the holding place, you stay here. So I stayed. Of course, somebody goes, hey, man, you got to go back to the house. Like special privileges. So I'm standing there, and here comes Selleck out. I'm going, oh, my golly. He said, Jon Warden, Tom Selleck, how you doing? He said, you got the ring with you? I said, yes, sir. I pull the ring out. He's holding, I guess, boy, do I envy you. That's what he said to me. Do I envy you? But that was his life.
Sure.
He grew up Detroit area, wanted to be in the big leagues, and he wasn't a bad player. He played in some of these old timers games we had down in Florida.
Okay.
And he could swing. He hit left-handed, but he took that ring and he put that thing on. I went, okay, I don't know if I can get another one or not, Tom, but but it was just things like that. That'd never happened if I hadn't been in the 68 Tigers.
Yep.
So the 68 Tigers opened my whole world up.
Absolutely.
So,
who was one of the big leaders of that ball club? Who do you think?
Well, Cash was a fun guy and an upbeat and always rah-rah guy.
Okay.
And then McAuliffe was mean as a snake, and he was this guy, you talk about intense.
Yep.
I mean, he'd knock you down in a heartbeat. He'd take you out at second base. I saw him, this guy slid into him and sort of spiked him one time, and he's like, come in here again, and you're gonna wear one. So it was a double play ball. This guy was on first, and double play ball, and McAuliffe took the throw and took it right here. Right there, boy. Right in the squash. That was awesome. Knocked that guy right out. Everybody's going, yeah. So, ball players, they might not retaliate right away, but they remember.
Absolutely.
And but I'd say, because K-Line was quiet. He was the guy, though.
Okay.
K-Line's a man.
Right.
Number 6 is the
Yep.
guy.
That's Detroit Tigers.
But he wasn't the guy like, let's go, hey, come on, let's go. He didn't do any of that.
Okay.
North was a real too, and he would get on you.
Yep.
And he was vocal. And that was good because you need that every now and then. You can't just have a bunch of guys sitting around and be real complacent and not do anything. And Freehan was a leader. He would get the guys, come on guys, we're going to get this thing rolling. And most of the pitchers, not as much.
Okay.
The pitching, but usually the position players, they're playing every day. Euler didn't say much because he's about half drunk every day. And then he roomed with Denny. Well, there's a pair. Oh my golly. And Euler was one of the first guys to pass away.
Yeah.
44 years old. But heavy smoker, heavy drinker. And Joe Sparma went the same way. He had a stroke. Got ready to release him from the hospital. I'd been up to see him. They were going to release him in the next couple of days. Got up for a walk with the nurse. Boom. Dead before he hit the floor.
Wow.
He was like 45. And but that heavy drinker, heavy smoker, and living the nightlife and catches up with you.
Absolutely.
So those guys left early and could have been around a lot longer. But I'd say Cash, McAuliffe, Northrup, Freehan, those guys sort of got us going.
Yep.
Price never said much. He was a backup catcher, and Matchik was a rookie, and Trzaskowski didn't say much. He was a utility guy, and so mainly those four guys were sort of the core. Stanley didn't say a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, he was sort of a quiet guy, but boy, he was center fielder, glove, and everything. And Willie Horton, Willie'd say a few things. He gets you going once in a while. And Gates just sit back and like, where's the food at, man? Where's the food at? Remember the HBO special, City on Fire?
Mm-hmm.
Brian Gumbel interviewed some of the players. And I don't know if you remember this, but he was interviewing Gates Brown. So he said, well, Gator, he said, what's Denny McLain like? He said, well, Brian, when you shake hands with Denny, when you pull your hand back, you count your fingers. Brian Gumbel got like, he's like, we'll be right back after this message. I mean, cut. He had Gumbel speechless, and Gator's going, what?
You asked.
You asked me. But it was, just crazy stuff.
Sure.
And Gates would come down the bullpen. See, back then you could dial 9 and get an outside line.
Okay.
Gator would be talking to somebody out in California. Hey, man, we got a road. We'll be out there in about 3 days. Yeah, it was. Or else he'd call up and get a pizza. And bring the pizza. What's the address? Woodward Trumbull, man. The home bullpen. Third baseline. Some kid would go out and get it. I used to go out to the concession stand and get peanuts and this and that because we were way down away. And here I'm in full uniform. Well, that guy's a real fan. He wore his spikes to the game and everything. No, actually, I'm a player. How you doing? But we had like a smorgasbord down there in the bullpen. We had food everywhere. So
what are you doing now, John?
I'm doing nothing. I'm pretty good at it.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it. No, I did fundraising with a company, and I sold my business to another guy, and I do a lot of stuff for him. They like the school here might have a magazine sale or candy sale or gift or hold a card show and raise money for the baseball team.
Sure.
So I help do a lot of that stuff like that. I taught school for 7 years. Loved teaching, but the money in the 70s was terrible.
Yep.
And I had 2 kids, the third one on the way. So sort of got out of that business, got into sales and into the fundraising. So I did that since 82 or 83.
Okay.
And I still do some. I still have some of the schools I had 25 years ago. And the guy that bought my stuff, he said, you got the contract and stuff with these schools? I said, right here's my contract. Shake a hand, see you next year. Set the date, but I wouldn't have to sign a paper. So I did that, and then I do a lot of public speaking now. I go all over the country. I'm everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, and people call, hey, can you do this? I'll be in New York on November 7th with the Major League Alumni. I do the auction there for the Achievement Awards. I forget who they're honoring this year. But they've had Bob Gibson last year, and it's a good thing because Bob's got pancreatic cancer.
That's
Man, that pancreatic, that eats you up. So I feel bad for him, but he was there, and I was glad that he got to be honored.
Sure.
Because I don't know what kind of shape he's in right now.
Right.
If they could have got him this year or next year. But they have a guy every year. Brooks Robinson's the president of alumni. So I speak at that. Steve Lyons and I, the crazy guy that pulled his pants down at first base. He and I together like dynamite. It's like, watch out.
That's the old
Warden
who's on
and
first
Warden the
type of
line.
deal
Oh,
going.
man, you ain't kidding, man. And there's a lot of big hitters out there, but it doesn't bother me a bit. So, and then on the 2 weeks later, I go back to New York, and Frank Tepedino used to be, he played first base for the Yankees for a little bit in Atlanta Braves, and he's a firefighter, and he was in the 9/11, his firehouse was, and he raises money for the firefighters and the widows and the children.
Sure.
They give that money to them. They space around, and they send money to other places. Like if there's a fire in town of Lovin where I live, and somebody loses his life or something like that, I let him know, because I do like the Southwest region right there, and I'll let him know who the kid and who was and everything, and the wife, and then they'll send him a check.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I do a lot of fundraising stuff like that.
Great cause.
But the speaking's fun, and make everybody laugh.
Yep.
I love to see people laugh. That's God said, hey, go out and make everybody have a good time.
There you go. Absolutely.
That's me. I'm the fun guy.
Well, I have to ask. I
Yep.
read a little bit of a story, and we talked about it at the end of the show last night. How
old was she?
I can't say.
Oh, baseball encyclopedia.
Yeah, the baseball encyclopedia story.
Well, my wife got me a baseball encyclopedia for Christmas in '88 or '89, and had everybody '89. It had everybody played from '88 back to day one, 150 years ago. And if you threw one pitch, played one inning, you're in that book. So somebody comes up to you, yeah, my grandpa played. Oh, really? What's your grandpa's name? Joe Smith. Really? So I'll look it up. Hey, he didn't play. so anyway, I had a golf outing, and Ryan Duran's there, pitcher for the Yankees, thick bottle glasses, throws 100 miles an hour, severe alcoholic, and everybody's scared to death to hit off of him. So anyway, he was talking about, everybody's teasing him about being the worst hitting pitcher in the league ever played. No way. He said Hank and Gary, he was terrible. She's got one. So Hank and Gary was named, and Bob Bruce and Koufax and these guys. So I had that encyclopedia at home, so I brought it to the hospitality room. There's about 30 guys there, and we're going over there. I said, Ryan, I found a guy. Andy McGaffigan was a worse hitter than you. I told you guys I wasn't the worst. And there it is. There's one that's the one I got right here. Joseph Reichler. That's got thousands of guys in there. So I started going to all these events, and I had Ryan Duran sign it. I said, Ryan, why don't you just sign by your name? And he signed there, and right now I've got almost 1,800 autographs.
That's amazing.
In a book like this. You want me to sign yours?
I would greatly appreciate it.
You got to get a different pen now. That thing will eat the page up.
Okay.
You have a ballpoint? You need a ballpoint for this. Yep, there's the the player section in the front.
Yep.
Pitcher section in the back. So they said, did you sign the book? I said, yeah, I signed my own book. WXYZ. Where's the W's? There we go. There it is. There I am. Look at that. The old one-liner.
Jon Warden, the one line.
One line.
It
One
works.
line, and the first one in the book, right?
Absolutely are. I had never heard of this before I read that. I think it's a great idea. I wish I would have done it before, because we've had a lot of people
you've had some
coming
good
through
guys.
here.
Yeah, well, you get Denny today.
That's true.
Get
I can
Denny.
get him too. We'll make sure he knows he's the second one, though, not the first.
He's second. Tom Seaver came up to me. I had this book in New York at one of his deals. He signed it, had Rusty Staub sign it. He goes, Warden, how'd you think of that? He said, why didn't I do that? All these guys I played with and been around.
Absolutely.
I said, Tommy, just go out and get you one of these books.
There you go.
Started going.
Yep.
So, it just snowballed. And now when I go to an event, I got so many. Now when I go to an event, I ask them, hey, can you email me the list of players that are going to be there? A lot of times now, everybody's coming, I already have them.
Sure.
And they've been down. I probably have 60 Hall of Famers.
Wow.
A lot of father-son, Yogi Berra, Dale Berra, brothers, Jim Perry, Gaylord Perry, Gene Freeze, and his brother George both played. It's just just a ton of people, brothers and father-son. Joe Coleman, Sr. and Jr. I got both of them. So, it's been fun doing
Absolutely.
it.
I bet so.
Yeah.
Well, John, I'm sure you got a lot of people out there waiting to have
I bet
you
that line
sign
will get
there.
long. I bet I have to go over and get those 3 autographs knocked out.
And get a couple Rebel Dogs.
Rebel Dogs. Don't forget the Rebel Dogs. A lot of mustard. Put a little onion on there. Woo. Be driving home. Thanks for having me, big guy.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate it,
Good to be
John.
in Wyoming.
Safe travels home.
Let's go out and milk the cows.
He's still driving that 1960 70 hand-me-down truck, and he's still wearing that red and black jersey, just waiting for the van to start up.
Well, that will wrap up our program here this year. Once again, just as in 1968, Denny McLain started it, reliever Jon Warden came in to close it out. But the winners this time are the Wyoming Lee Legend sports teams. So a big thank you to Jon and to Denny and to Ty Emelander for inviting us back to the event. Thank you also to our sound man, Doug Hansen, today, our cameraman, producer extraordinaire, Gary Vandevelde. As always, I know it's going to be a fantastic production. So, until the next time, all the best. But before we sign off, I want to say best wishes and God's blessings to Denny's wife, Sharon. Sharon, we missed you once again this year. Hopefully we'll be able to see you in the future, and all the best in the meantime. And last but certainly not least, we lost a long-time WKTV supporter, friend, Wyoming community person in Ray Puehler this last February. Ray was a big supporter, and he taught so many things, and his impact and his professionalism and most of all his friendship are missed every day that we do one of these programs. The funny things about him and the way that he did it will never be forgotten. They will go on for a long time, especially the way he and Denny and some of their interviews from right here in this place. So to Ray's family, we miss him. God bless to you as well.
Said goodbye, turned around, and you were gone, gone, gone. Faded into the setting sun. Slipped away, but I won't cry, 'cause I know I'll never be lonely. For you are the stars to me. You are the light I follow. I'll see you again. Whoa, this is not where it ends. I will carry you with me, oh, till I see you again. Oh, oh,
What's her name? Oh, Pocahontas? Yeah. Yeah. She went 30 years telling everybody I'm part Native Indian. Yeah, right. Yeah. Right there. Elizabeth. Bernie Sanders is going to die for next November. Who's going to get his percentage? We ready?
I think we've already been rolling.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you're on, John.
Good, man. Yes, I like it.